Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Sykes, and today I'm going to give you information on how to write your essay on Harriet Tubman's greatest achievement. Over the last few days, we've learned a little bit about Harriet Tubman. We've watched a video about her, we've read a background essay about her, and we also looked at a series of documents from what we're calling a DBQ, a document-based question. And your question was, what was Harriet Tubman's greatest achievement? And as you looked at the documents and watched the video, you were supposed to gather information on a chart, a series of facts and details about her roles as conductor, spy, and nurse, so that you can use those details in writing your essay to tell us what you thought Harriet Tubman's greatest achievement was. Let's review the directions. Number one, as you look at the documents from the DBQ, what was Harriet Tubman's greatest achievement? Gather information about her roles as a conductor on the Underground Railroad, as a spy, and as a nurse. So yesterday, you should have looked back at the background essay and reviewed it. You should have looked at document A, which is a map of the different routes Harriet Tubman took to bring slaves from the South to freedom in the North. You should have looked at document B, which was a list of different rescue missions that she went on. Document C had to do with her as a spy during the Civil War. Document D talked about her role as a nurse taking care of wounded soldiers in the Civil War. And then document E was a photo of Harriet Tubman later in life. So as you looked at those documents and you watched the video on Friday about Harriet Tubman, you should have come to the chart, that's slide number 2, and filled in details about each of her roles. So I went through and I took notes about her as a conductor, and I listed 3 important, interesting details, facts from the articles, facts from the documents, facts from the video, and then her as a spy, and then her as a nurse. Filling out this chart is so important, not only because you're going to have a part of your grade is going to be on this chart, but also this is where you're going to get your details for your writing. So if you haven't filled out this chart yet, make sure you pause and go back and do that. Our second direction says fill in the chart with information about each one of Harriet Tubman's roles from the video and the documents. That's slide number 2. Direction number 3 is write an essay explaining each of her roles and then tell which role you believe was her greatest achievement, giving details from the documents. I know that when I say the word essay, it might seem very overwhelming. But if you follow this video and some of my suggestions on how to write this essay, I think you will be successful. Always take your time. And remember, this is a 2-day writing process. Today's lesson is all going to be about the writing of the essay, and Wednesday's lesson is going to be about editing and revising. But writing takes everybody a different amount of time. Some people start quickly and they write fast at the beginning and then slow down. Other people start slow with their writing and have to think of ideas, but then it comes faster. So everybody might be writing at their own pace. But just remember, keep up with the class so that you can be finished with your essay and be ready to share it to your class on Wednesday. Now, let's take a look at slide 3. This is the information about the essay. So remember, the directions say this writing assignment will be completed on Tuesday, February 9th and Wednesday, February 10th. Here are the directions. Number 1, think about the roles Harriet Tubman had throughout her life and rank them from least important to you to most important. So let's take a pause and let's go back to my chart, and I'm going to think this through aloud for you. So I gathered information about her as a conductor and a spy and a nurse. And when I look at this, I'm thinking about which one do I think is her greatest achievement. Now remember, this is my opinion, so some of you may agree with me and some of you may think one of her other roles is her greatest achievement, and that's okay. So to me, her being a conductor on the Underground Railroad is her greatest achievement. I thought that freeing all those slaves over 11 years and going back and forth from the north to the south and putting herself in danger each time was the reason why, for me, that was her greatest achievement. So I would rank conductor number 1. Next, I think what she went through as a nurse and how she really took it upon herself to care for those wounded soldiers and comfort them as they lay injured and dying, and then making gingerbread and root beer to sell to the soldiers, and then never getting paid. That was her next greatest achievement for me. And then third, mine would be spy. Yes, she saved 800 slaves in one day, which is amazing. But she also had the assistance of the army and gunboats and troops to help her accomplish that task. So if I had to rank her greatest achievements, conductor for me would be number 1, nurse would be number 2, and spy would be number 3. Keep those in mind as you rank your 3 roles of Harriet Tubman's greatest achievements. Now let's talk about what our writing is going to look like. We're going to begin writing our essay on slide number 4, and it's going to be a series of 5 paragraphs. Now don't get overwhelmed. A paragraph is about 5 sentences apiece or less, and I know you can do this. So when you look at number 2 on the next slide, begin writing your essay. Letter A is paragraph 1. Write an introduction sentence telling what your essay is going to be about. So for example, we know that this topic is what was Harriet Tubman's greatest achievement. So as we write, we don't want to give our readers our answer, but we want to let our reader know exactly what our writing is going to be about. Paragraph 2 is the writing of the role that you felt was the least important. So remember, your answer might be different from mine, but that was the role of her as the spy. So my second paragraph is going to be about her as a spy. Paragraph 3, write about the next important role. And remember, I had nurse as my next important role. And then your paragraph 4 is going to be about the role you felt was the most important. And to me, that was her as a conductor. Paragraph 5 is your conclusion sentence to wrap up your writing. When you include all these things, I want you to think about it like a present. Think about getting a plain box. It just is a box. It's just plain white and it's a box. Kind of boring, isn't it? But when you think about it and you wrap it up with paper, it's better, right? So those are the details that you put in. Think about your present now with a bow on it. That's when you include all the details. You want to make sure that your essay is the best you can possibly do. And to do that, you need to include lots of details. And your third direction is to make sure you use the correct capitalization, punctuation, spelling as grammar as you write this essay. Today, the most important thing is to get your words on the paper or on the computer, wherever you're writing. Today's the most important thing is to get your ideas down. Tomorrow, when we talk about editing and revising, you can always go back and correct the capitalization, the punctuation, and the spelling. All right, guys, now it's time to begin to write your essay. I've clicked on to slide number 4, and this is a text box where you can start writing your essay. Now, I'm going to change the color of my print so that you can kind of see how I'm organizing my writing. You can leave yours black if you'd like. All right, I'm going to do blue because I want to use blue to show that this is the beginning. Remember, paragraph 1 is your introduction. You want to talk to your reader about what you're writing, but you don't want to give them too many ideas. So I may begin with, Harriet Tubman was a woman who dedicated her life to helping others. True, because she was a conductor helping others. She was a spy in order to help others escape from slavery. And she was a nurse helping the soldiers. We know that she was a spy, a nurse, and a conductor. But which was her greatest achievement? Remember, this part goes back to the question, which was what was Harriet Tubman's greatest achievement? But you haven't given your answer yet, because you want your reader to read through your paragraphs to figure out which one. You may want to add a little bit more to your introduction, but it's as simple as that. Now, I want you to notice that here, when I did my first paragraph, I actually indented. And on my computer, I hit the word tab, and it moves the cursor over just enough to show that you're indenting. I'm going to change my print to green now. And remember, this paragraph is going to be about the role that I felt was the least important. So if you remember, I decided that her role as a spy was the least out of the three. Now, as you go from your introduction paragraph to your paragraph about her first achievement, you want to have some kind of transition. So since this is the first achievement I'm writing about, I'm going to start with first, or you can come up with some other thing that shows that this is the first one. I might say first, Harriet Tubman served as a spy for the Union Army during the Civil War to provide information and free slaves. Okay? Now, here's where you're going to want to go back to your slide number 2 to find the details you wrote in your chart. It's a great place to gather information and to back up your writing to make sure you can prove your point of view. So I might say next, on June 3rd, 1863, Harriet went to a plantation to free slaves with 3 gunboats and a company of soldiers. Okay, so let's talk about each of your paragraphs here. You want an introduction sentence. So I wanted to say that she served as a spy. And then you're going to have your 3 supporting details. So I said on June 3rd, she went to the plantation with the gunboats and the company of soldiers. I'm also going to include information about her freeing the 800 slaves and singing to them. And I might even include the fact that 100 of those slaves then went on to enlist in the army. All right. So I would continue that second paragraph, but I'm going to go on. And now I'm going to talk to you about her third, or the second. I'm going to tab over. Now my transition here was first. I could use second, but I'm going to use the word next. Next, Harriet Tubman cared for wounded soldiers as a nurse. Okay, now remember, go back to your chart, grab your details so that you can back up your writing and then continue writing. Remember, each paragraph should have an introduction sentence, your supporting details from the chart, and then some kind of conclusion. Okay, so I'm not quite finished with that one, but I'm going to go on. And I'm going to do my final achievement. Now remember, this was the goal of your essay. So you could have your transition word be finally or last or most importantly or just something of that nature. So I'm going to use finally. And remember, this one is the one you think was her greatest achievement. Was as a conductor on the Underground Railroad. Now, as I start my introduction, I'm going to go back to my chart. I'm going to grab the information that I thought was interesting about her life as a conductor, and I may also go back to the article if you realize that you need something a little bit more, some more detail. Maybe you want to pick up like a specific date. Now remember, if you're using the documents, do not copy word for word. That's called plagiarism. So you've got to take this information and put it in your own words. So as I continue this paragraph, I might include information about that she traveled for 11 years, that she went back and forth to the plantations to bring the slaves to freedom in the North. I also thought it was interesting that she traveled at night and in the winter, and she usually left on Saturdays because the slaves would have Sunday off, so they wouldn't be missing until Monday. All those things are really interesting, and that's why I believed that Harriet Tubman's greatest achievement was as a conductor. So I would continue writing 4 to 5 sentences there, but you have another slide here that I'm going to continue on. And this last one is going to be my conclusion. Now you need one more paragraph to wrap up your thoughts. So I might start mine, even though Harriet Tubman spent her life dedicated to serving others, her greatest achievement was as a conductor on the Underground Railroad. You might want to continue talking about how this was such a selfless act that really she worried only about others and not about herself. There was a reward for her capture, and every time she went, she put herself in danger. All right, guys. Again, my essay's not quite finished. I did skip around a lot and didn't have enough sentences for each paragraph, but I hope that you can see how I divided it into the different sections and into the different paragraphs. So your task now is to go in and write your essay about Harriet Tubman's greatest achievement. When I talk to you tomorrow, we'll go in and talk about how to look for capitalization mistakes and how to look for punctuation and how to really polish your essay so that not only do you have good details, but it's well written too. I hope you guys have a great day. If you have any questions about writing your essay, please don't hesitate to talk with your social studies teacher. And I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow about editing your writing. Have a great day.